Hi everybody, this is Sarah with Live a Life You Love, and welcome to part 2 of our special networking series with Jennifer Robinson, my dear friend, also known as Jen, from Purposeful Networking. We're here again to answer some of the top questions that clients ask all the time about how to be better networkers and be more effective at it. So we're going to dive into the next set of questions that clients are asking. So Jen, what are some of your best tips to network successfully?
I think doing your research is one of the best things you can do for a networking event. So if you have available to you who's going to be at the event, what the format of the event is, anything that you can do to make yourself more comfortable going to the event. So that could be knowing that you're going to have to give an elevator pitch, because sometimes people get to an event and they're surprised and they're caught off guard that they're going to have to give an elevator pitch. That could be looking at the list of attendees and thinking, okay, I see 3 people on this list that are really important for me to meet for my business. And then following through when you get to the event and making that happen, whether that's talking to someone at registration or asking a fellow attendee if they can point them out to you, doing your research to make everything that you want out of the event happen.
I love that. So really, essentially, being prepared, and there's many ways to do that. Looking at the format of the event, preparing a 30-second elevator pitch so that you sound professional and as though you know what you're talking about, and then even thinking about who's attending so that you can really purposefully go and introduce yourself to those people because they may be the ones that you really want to meet to grow your business.
But actually, I wouldn't stop there even. I would add some more to that, as far as tips. I would say you really need a system for follow-up. And I mean follow up with your cards and follow up with the connection. So let me break that down. So with your cards, we've all been guilty of it. You go home from an event, maybe you go to an event the next day, or you go to a few events that week, and by the end, even sometimes I'm cleaning out my purse at the end of the week and there are cards at the bottom and I don't know who the people are, I don't remember where I've met them, and it's just a waste of everyone's time. So what you want to do, it doesn't have to be one type of system, but you have to find a system that works for you, whether that's taking notes on the cards when you meet people at the events, whether that's having a rubber band around the cards from a particular event so that you know where you met them, what date it was, whatever system works for you, but make sure you have one so that, when you get home, you understand who the people are whose cards you collected. And then the follow-up. I think the follow-up is really where a lot of people fall short. They go to the event, they enjoy the event, they make some good connections, they have great conversations, and then time goes by, people get busy, they forget who you are, you forget to follow up, and again, it's just really a waste of everyone's time. It's a waste of your money, your resources, the time that you put into coming to the event. So, whether that's a phone call, an email, a handwritten note, setting up that next one-on-one, having a phone one-on-one conversation to get to know somebody's business better, or what kind of referral you can make for them, whatever it is, don't let it go after the event. The event is the first step, and even don't let it go from the follow-up. That's another mistake people make. They go to the event and maybe they did the follow-up and they think, yay, I followed up and now I'm done. But you're not. It's just like anything else in life. You go to the event, you make the connection, you follow up, and then you continue from there, just like any other relationship in your life, whether that's a boyfriend or girlfriend or a family member or a friend or a business associate. It's the same thing. It doesn't end at one point. So the follow-up, I think, short-term and long-term is very important.
I love this point because I once got some really great advice, and that is after every networking event that I go to, create time the very next morning in my schedule to do the follow-up, because that's the critical piece, as you said, for so many different reasons.
Yes.
So I hope you guys are listening. Follow-up is crucial. Okay, so the next question I hear a lot of is, what's the overall goal of going to a networking event? What am I hoping to achieve as a result of going there?
There's a lot of reasons to go to a networking event. I mean, the obvious one is we all want to get business. Most of us are entrepreneurs, or you need clients for your business. And obviously you go to networking to get business. But, I would say think about networking like you think of anything else that you would go to as far as a social event. So think about going there just to make some good connections with people. And if you think about it like that, I think it's a lot easier. You don't have that pressure about, what am I getting out of this? You will naturally gravitate towards people, you will make connections, and it won't be work when you do that, So I would think about it in that respect. And, I would also think about the marketing opportunities that networking offers. And by marketing, I don't mean talking about every service that you offer for your business. Nobody wants to be sold to at a networking event, but it's a great way to have visibility, to get yourself out there for people to remember that you exist and see who you are and think about you. If they either have a need for your services later, or they might know somebody who does. I'm kind of the opinion that the more people see you, the more you're in their minds, the better it is. So networking is my business. I do a ton of networking. I encourage everyone to do that if they're able or they have an inclination to do that. I think, it does take time and resources, but essentially I look at it as almost free marketing, because as opposed to hiring a big PR company or, hiring somebody to do your SEO or analytics or some of these things that for a small business person are not really reachable. It's not a practical expense when you're starting a business and you don't even have an assistant, but getting out, and talking to people and building those relationships, and having the visibility, you can do that for yourself.
Excellent. And when someone asks, what do you do? The question we get asked many, many times over at a networking event. What are your recommendations for the best way to answer that question?
I mean, I definitely think at networking events, you should be prepared for that. Even if there's not a formal time at the event where you're supposed to give an elevator pitch, if you're meeting somebody, you should have that short answer of what do you do? You should also have the short answer of what's a good referral for you and, what projects you're working on or what somebody might be able to help you with as far as who you're looking to meet as an introduction for your business. All of that should sort of be at your fingertips. It doesn't mean that all the time you spend talking to somebody should be about that. When you're connecting with people at events, it should really be more about them. So I like to give a short answer. I'm Jennifer. My business is Purposeful Networking. I help people with networking. I might even just leave it at that. Might not go into any of my services or whatever else I do. And then I would throw it back at the other person, ask them not even necessarily what they do, but maybe what brought them out to the event or, how are they finding the event or have they been to this group before? And try to bring it back to a more casual conversation. And if you can open that up to even something that's totally unrelated to business, like maybe, where you traveled on your last trip or, do you have pets at home or, what kind of things are your kids involved with, whatever it is, that's going to make more of an impact. But going back to my original point, you should always be ready to answer the question. When somebody asks you what you do, you shouldn't be taken aback like you didn't expect that to come. That's going to come. It's a networking event. And you should be prepared to give that short answer.
I think that's great. And one of the greatest things that I struggled with when I started networking, and even actually until recently, when I would meet someone, I would immediately start asking them, oh, what kind of coach are you? Where did you get certified? And I realized that this isn't the way to build a relationship, which is exactly what you say networking is all about. So talking about the shoes that they're wearing or asking where they live and just being a lot more casual was so much more normal. And it took the pressure off my shoulders to have to sound like a pro and like I have it all together. So I think these are really great tips.
Yeah, I think that really helps people too, because there's a lot of people that are very uncomfortable at networking events. And if you can make it more casual and talk about, the Flyers game last night or, the fact that you like their shoes or whatever it is, I mean, that'll get people to open up more. They'll feel it's more conversational. They'll feel they have something to contribute. They're not trying to remember what's in their head about, what services I'm not explaining to you or anything like that. I just think you'll make more of a connection that way.
I think that's exactly what it's about, personal connection. And last question that I hear all the time is, what are some of the biggest mistakes people are making when they're networking?
So to me, the biggest mistake that people make is to put somebody on their newsletter or email list who has not opted in or asked to be on it. So you go to networking events, you collect cards, you do the follow-up, you connect with people on LinkedIn, you input their information in your databases or whatever it is, and then you decide, I'm going to add them to my mailing list or my newsletter, because who doesn't want to hear about what new things are going on in the plumbing world? And not everyone does. Yeah. So, you really have to think about that. Do people really are interested? Think about how many emails we all get in a day. If people are interested and they get to know you and they want to have updates, they will let you know, or they will go on your website and opt in. I really firmly believe that you should not automatically add people to these lists. I think it's a turnoff, and it's just going to set the tone of the relationship in a direction you don't want.
Yeah, great tip. I couldn't stand behind this point anymore. I actually have another blog that's on this that you can check out about list building strategy. It's such a turnoff. It happens to me all the time, and I cannot really stand behind this any more than Jen's already saying. So that brings us to the end of our questions. Guys, I'm so happy that you tuned in for part 2 of our networking series. I hope this has been really helpful for you. Let us know what you've thought about it. Leave your comments and questions below, and we can always bring this back to life with more of Jen's really great tips from Purposeful Networking in the future. So thanks again, Jenn, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And we will see you next week, guys. Thanks so much.